James, Christians, and wasting time. A problem. I think I'm making progress, but it's pretty slow. Wasting time with Christians, wasting the time of Christians, wasting time on Christians, some combination of all three. When they think they're going to tell me that they know the truth of the gospel, they know what Jesus meant. If we go on for more than a minute or two, and there's no chance of moving into a different way of understanding the problem, I'm wasting their time, and they're wasting my time. I'm 74 years old. I've moved in the opposite direction of that. The only one that knows what Jesus meant is Jesus and God, I suppose. Do I know that for certain? Yes. Do I know it absolutely? I don't know anything absolutely. Only Jesus and God do. I'm not going to change my view that only Jesus knows for certain what Jesus meant. Because to believe that, I would have to discount 98% of what he said in Matthew, Luke, and Mark. And I'm not prepared to do that. And also, I don't want to do it. Struggling with all 80 of the nuggets, all 80 of the rocks, the big pieces of how we are to live in the Gospels that I have enumerated, and the 1,010 on a more granular basis that I have illuminated. It has brought me back to life. A higher quality of life than just about anyone I've ever met. Certainly any Christian I've ever met. I don't want to believe otherwise. I'm willing to. But searching for the truth has brought me here. It's just not going to happen. So if I don't find a way of determining that I'm in front of someone that thinks they know the truth, and more important, and just as importantly, that the truth is 2 or 3 things in the Gospels. Do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior? Do you profess Jesus as your Lord and Savior? Do you think Jesus is God? Those are the 2 or 3. There might be 1 or 2 others. If I determine, I really need to learn how to determine quickly. And I think I can be direct with the Christian in front of me. I think I should be. Friend, the Christians I encounter think that they know what Jesus means, what God means. Absolutely. And further, they pretty much eliminate 98% of what Jesus has to say and narrow it down to a couple, 3 verses. We have nothing to talk about, friend. I can't justify in front of God and Jesus wasting your time And I can't justify in front of God and Jesus wasting my time. I haven't yet tried that approach. I'm processing how to deal with this better right now. Trying to block the sun. There are other things on my mind as to how to deal with this. As alternatives or additional things to what I've just said. Asking the individual, do you think anyone can speak for Jesus? Do you think anyone can say, I know what Jesus meant? That could be a really important way of helping someone think. Would be interesting to me, and I'm sure I'll begin asking that. Because maybe they've never thought of it that way, or maybe they have. And I might learn a lot about how to deal with these encounters and maybe help the occasional Christian out of the dark with the answers I get to that question. I'm sure I'll be asking. I suspect another question that I will try is sharing honestly. I have never encountered a Christian that is interested in other than 3 or 4 or 5 of the 80 or 1,010 instructions of Jesus in the gospel. So am I to understand, Christian in front of me, that it's okay for me to ignore 95% of what Jesus had to say? Can you help me get comfortable with that? How do I understand that he said all those things but didn't mean them? Help me here. That's a reasonable question, isn't it? Just help me understand that. Another one that I'm sure I'll begin asking is, so you guys always ask me as a way of indicating you really don't care what the verses that I care about. So do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior? Okay. Do you think that everyone that does that will not hear from Jesus? Begone from me, I do not know you. If there's anyone that you think that says, oh, I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior, that might hear from Jesus on Judgment Day, begone from me, I do not know you. Do you think it's more than a few? Do you think it's most? And whether it's 1 or 5 or most or nearly all, as I think, why would they hear that? Why would Jesus tell them, begone from me, I do not know you? Even that one. Jesus, I profess you as my Lord and Savior. Why might they hear from Jesus, begone from me, I do not know you? I can't imagine what the Christians are thinking. I can imagine the Christians aren't thinking. I think they've been so brainwashed. They don't think. They recite. They know. They're afraid to ask these questions. I wouldn't force it on anyone, but I've got to start asking, and I'm trying to process how to best deal with these situations so we don't waste so much time.